Should have my headphone on.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's VWI Virtual Write-In 2K19. So exciting. Our theme today is going to be creating good dialogue, crafting dramatic dialogue, I think is the official title that we settled on. But yeah, everyone pop in the chat. Tell us how you're doing. Tell us where you're coming in from. Just a couple things to remind people of is right now we're in the middle of our NaNo Prep fundraising campaign. So you can find that on our website at store.nanowrimo.org/nano-prep. And so that's like a $30 donation, and that's basically like $1 a day for each day of November. It's like an investment in your writing, if you want to think about it like that. And there's like a cool gift where you get like 6 postcards. That's like postcards that NaNoWriMo has done throughout its history.
And if you can't donate anything, that's completely fine as well. If you are able to, that's great also. It's really helpful for us, but definitely think of this as an investment in your novel. Plus, you get 6 really cool postcards to go with it as well. So, just to introduce ourselves, I'm Nina.
Right. We're supposed to do that.
I'm Nina. I'm the programs intern here at NaNoWriMo.
I'm Freddie. I'm the editorial intern.
So, do you want to go into?
Let's see where. Let's see people checking in.
Yeah.
Ooh, hold on. That was exciting.
Kate H is checking in from Kentucky. Nice.
See someone from Seoul, in Korea.
Oh wow.
And I can't read Korean.
I can't read Korean either.
Hmm.
Stephanie Rubio is checking in from Sacramento, California. Hey,
that's close. And in the middle is Blobby. Yes, it's Blobby. I don't know if Blobby has a canonical voice. I'm Blobby. I don't know. Is that what he sounds like? It is, because that was him talking. So yeah, do you think we're ready to get on that first word sprint? Or you want to hang out for a little bit longer?
I feel like we are.
All right.
Everybody's greeting each other and saying where they're from and everything. So I think this is a perfect time to start a sprint.
Okay. Well, just a reminder, we don't have to use the prompts. These are just suggestions. The goal of these virtual write-ins is just to hang out with each other digitally, online, electronically, very 21st century. And the goal is just to get writing and write as much as possible, because those are the habits that we want to form. So yeah, you don't have to follow this prompt. Just write for the 5 minutes. And so our first prompt is to write a monologue from the perspective of a character. So it's like purely in the character's voice. I guess it doesn't really have to be narrative. It can just be about something. But yeah, so a 5-minute word sprint in which we write a monologue from the perspective of a character. And Nina's on timer.
Yep.
She'll count us down.
Whenever you are ready. So 5 minutes going in 3, 2, 1, right. All right, we have 1 minute and 36 seconds to go. All right, time is up. Finish whatever you have.
We both keep typing.
I am finishing my thought. All right. So, how was that for you guys?
Did we all have fun? Did we have like characters that we were starting on? Go ahead and just drop whatever your like favorite line was.
So I see some word counts so far. Let's see. So Naomi Dennis wrote 142 words.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And we've got Allison Opson Clement with 256. That's a pretty good word count.
Mm-hmm. For 5 minutes. So, and then something else we wanted to discuss in this first discussion segment was what's like some good writing advice that people have received specifically about dialogue. Like I know when I was first writing, like I guess the first time I was in like a craft class environment, some advice that I received was to stop using all of the different like speech attribution words like yelled, exclaimed, or like using other verbs instead of like that's so like dialogue, he smiled, or something like that. And the advice I got was don't use any of those. Let the dialogue speak for itself, and then just it's always he said, she said, they said. And then once you're good at getting the dialogue to speak for itself, then start adding those words back in because they're all great words. We don't want to just lose them completely. So yeah.
I think I never actually received any like dialogue advice. Right around the time I was writing my senior project, my English teacher was my mentor. And so a lot of the times she would comment on my dialogue because they sounded a lot like normal conversations that people would have. And she was asking me around that time, what do you think is like good about your dialogue or how do you come up with your dialogue? And a lot of the times, the advice that I give to people who are struggling with dialogue is basically just act like you're having the conversation with your character. Like sit yourself in a quiet room, imagine you're sitting right in front of your character, whoever this character is talking to, and write out what you would say to that person and how the dialogue would go about. And, you can imagine yourself in like different scenarios. So if, your two characters are talking to each other and neither of them match your characteristics, just pick one and kind of imagine what you would say if you had the same characteristics or personalities as one of your characters.
I like that because it like forces you to separate your voice from your character's voice.
Yeah.
Which I feel like my characters always sound like me until I start revising,
Yeah, I get that.
Let's see some excerpts here. Oh, here's some advice from Savannah Wade. 1, people watch. Hear how real people talk. And 2, listen to dialect. How do certain people talk, and how does that change the language? That's really good advice.
Yeah.
I think the best way to learn how people talk is to listen to how people talk. Yeah, that's good.
Sierra E said, imagine the dialogue in your head. I like to read it aloud in a voice recording to make sure it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's definitely good, making sure that it sounds authentic and sounds like something, an actual person would say in a conversation instead of trying to force the conversation in a way.
Nile Woman said, I had a lot of fun creating a monologue for Bad Guy. Here is an excerpt. Classical literature is only for the select few elites whose intelligence far surpasses those of everyone around them. I like that. And it's true. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. And Batman says, I use he, she, they said during Nano to get the word count up. Yep. Mm-hmm. You get an extra 2 words every time you say it.
Oh, yeah. Troll Princess. I actually like this one. She says, when I hear my characters sound British in my head, I know I'm writing too formally. They got to sound Texas.
Yeah.
That's really funny. I like that. Definitely kind of see if your character has an accent. And if they do, that can kind of steer, the way that your conversation is built, or your dialogue is built as well. Right. So that's a good idea too.
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
And then YM Nelson says, recent advice from an editor, no I dialogue. I still use some, but words like gonna and gotta are I dialogue and are telling instead of showing character personality. So yeah, I think a lot of,
in case people don't see the comment, it's I as an EYE.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing it's like dialogue that's purely visual.
Mm-hmm. And I think that, filtering out words like gotta and gonna, that also helps you to kind of communicate things outside of normal talk. I think a lot of people write how they speak, and it can kind of get in the way of whatever you're trying to say if, that language isn't commonly communicated. And I think sometimes it can distract from the meaning of whatever you're trying to say. So choosing the right time to add those I words, like gotta and gonna, or anything else that you would normally use in an everyday conversation, I think choosing when to put those in is a really good strategy of making sure that your dialogue communicates to a large audience.
Mallory R says, for some reason, my characters tend to either sound like cowboys or a Jane Austen character. So I always have to fix that. Or why fix it? Write a crossover, write a cowboy Jane Austen crossover novel. That does bring up the interesting thing of my characters always sound like me. Mallory's characters always sound like cowboys or Jane Austen characters. Is there anyone else that like people find themselves like slipping into just because it's easier? Like I know there was a time in my life when everything I wrote sounded vaguely Joss Whedon-y just because I was watching a lot of Buffy and Firefly. I
think a lot of my dialogue, I know personally, like my dialogue, I always tend to sound British when I write.
Yeah.
I'm very formal when I write. So a lot of the times I notice that, like at Troll or like somebody said it and I can't remember exactly, and I'm sorry for not remembering, but I also kind of struggle with like making sure that I'm not too formal in my talk, but also not too relaxed in my talk, because I need to make sure that my dialogue is like matching the characters that are in the story. And if I'm talking about some teenager who lives in like the Midwest or like the Western region, they're not going to have a British accent unless they just shipped off from Europe or something. So I think keeping an eye on that's good.
Francesca L says, my main character always sounds like my weird ass best friend and her crazy word choice. I like that. Writing friends into novels is always fun.
Definitely.
And then Leanne Fournier said, I love this piece of writing advice about dystopian societies. Recently heard live from Margaret Atwood. If you're going to be hopeful, you need to know what you're up against.
Definitely.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So do you want to go into sprint number 2?
Yeah. All right. So this is going to be a 10-minute word sprint, a little bit more involved, kind of fun. And so, again, you don't have to use the prompt.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is writing. Get writing. The prompt is have your character find out a startling truth about someone they know, and then what's the dialogue that unfolds from that?
Yeah. And so I've got my timer set. 10 minutes starting in 3, 2, 1, write. All right, we have 3 minutes and 10 seconds left. All right, time is up. How'd you do? How did you do?
I did okay. Let's see, how many words was that? I feel like I got into a real good rhythm there.
Right?
Um,
Me too.
let's see.
Let's see. I got 450 words.
Oof. I got 473.
Ah.
So yeah, how did everyone else do?
Let's see. Elaine Brown wrote 620 words.
Oh, and as always, favorite lines of dialogue in
yeah.
the chat because we want to read them.
Definitely.
Let's see, 698 words from Kelsey Hours. That's a lot of nuts.
Janice Mayo wrote 347.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Nice. Mark Simmons wrote 297, although part of it was describing something that they needed to text to someone else. So that's still good. 297 words, it's still a really good number. Alexandra Parker wrote 189 words. That's incredible.
Mm.
I remember when I was first starting to write, I probably wrote like 50 words in like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just basically me going over everything that I wanted to write. And then as soon as I stopped planning, that I was able to write, but I also wrote really slow, like the first time I was starting to write stuff. So,
Naomi Dennis says 215. I could not focus this time. That's okay.
That's all
it's
right.
okay if you can't focus. You got 215 words you didn't have before, and that's the goal of these virtual write-ins. Let's see. We got some cool excerpts. Let's see. Gemma O'Reinikins wrote a line of dialogue. You knew what I lost there, who I lost, and it's all your fault. They're all dead, and it's because of you. You have the nerve to call yourself a pacifist, he spat, turning on his heels. It's intriguing. I want to know the context.
Leanne Foreigner wrote, Marcus is face to face with James. He didn't expect to get this chance, ever. It's very suspenseful.
Yeah.
I like it.
And I don't know if are they going to fight?
Are they going
to make out?
Are they going to just like have a crying conversation where they just welt into each other and they just like spill out all their emotions?
Let's see.
Aaron Mackenzie Mowers says, all I saw every time I closed my eyes was crimson snow, shattered glass, and a gray Mazda with a missing door. Hit and run. I like it.
I like how that one ends. The final detail of a gray Mazda with a missing door, the way it grounds the crimson snow and shattered glass, which are kind of, they're like kind of abstract. They could be kind of any genre, and then the way it gets grounded with the gray Mazda is really good.
Oh yeah. So then our actual question for you guys, is where's a good place to get dialogue inspiration? I know we already talked about, kind of getting dialogue from our current lives or interactions that we have. But like specifically, where are some good places to get dialogue? Like, do you have a favorite coffee shop that you like to go to? Do you pull conversations from certain interactions that mean a lot to you? Are they just random conversations that happen in your head? Where do you get your dialogue from? We got some good ones going here. I'm Batman said sitcoms. Sitcoms are really good. It's a lot of funny dialogue.
Yeah. It's a good place to get kind of a certain, I don't know, rhythm, certain tempo to dialogue.
Definitely. Mallory R says, a lot of my dialogue comes to me when I'm trying to sleep. I feel that. Nothing like having conversations with yourself.
Ekin Koch. Some songs, they're definitely written for some, though. I love getting ideas for dialogue from songs. I like putting, like, if there's, like, I don't know, like, kind of making a soundtrack for yourself and just having a song on loop while you're writing a scene of dialogue. It can feel a little bit corny sometimes, but I think that, they're not going to be listening to the song when they read it. So that's okay.
Apparently, somebody said tourist sites.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. I would think that I would never expect tourist sites to be a good spot for, dialogue, but that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it really, yeah.
I think that was Marley Regis. I want to say.
Lindsay Warner says indie comic books. Dialogue is important because it is limited.
Yeah.
It's a good one. I think, dialogue-driven things in general. I guess comic books aren't super dialogue-driven. There's, image too. But I definitely pick up quirks of dialogue from comics a lot.
Yeah, I'm getting Marie Jose Murillo Flores said the shower. I play all the conversations and music and good inspiration too. It helps put me in the right mood depending on the scene and helps keep the creative juices flowing.
Showers are great.
Showers are great for any type of thinking or singing or anything like that. So that's good. Let's see. Old WWE shows. I like that.
Yeah.
The Bird of Inferno said manga and comics are good for me.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like taking other stories' dialogue and meshing it into dialogue that I want to do. Not necessarily like doing parodies or actually stealing like quotes or anything like that, but actually like taking the basics of the dialogue and kind of inspiring myself by putting myself in that kind of a situation where I would be talking to somebody in that same manner and then just writing it out how I would go about doing that dialogue.
Yeah. So there's some more lines of dialogue that I wanted to read.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I like this one from Hillary McDonald. I can't scream. You know, that high-pitched kind of shrieking. Yes, I'm familiar. So what you're saying is you're starring in a horror picture and you can't scream. I don't know. That one tickled me.
Oh, it was good.
I like seeing just dialogue because it makes me makes me very curious about things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like on books when they have like lines of dialogue on the back or whatever, and then you gotta figure out where it fits in.
Books on Her Brain wrote some dialogue. Dragons don't drink root beer. Yes, they do. It's delicious.
Yeah, why wouldn't they drink root beer?
Why not? Let's see. There's a lot of good dialogues in here, and a lot of like good places to find inspiration for dialogue as well.
I like this comment. I don't quote write dialogue unquote. I quote take dictation.
I really like that one.
Really good. Also, like Michael said, watching Gilmore Girls with your wife, pretending she's the reason you're watching it. Own it. If you're watching Gilmore Girls for you.
Gosh, I would love to watch Gilmore Girls or some other sitcom and just sit there and write the dialogue based solely on that.
Dragons drink root beer. It is canon. It is true. Dragons drink root beer. All right, Blobby? He's dragon adjacent.
I think Blobby would drink root beer. Therefore, dragons drink root beer.
Ooh, I do love my root beer.
Savannah Wade also wrote that the prompt took her to a dark scene that they didn't even realize they were ready to write yet. And I actually experienced the same thing. I wrote something really dark that I wasn't necessarily, I didn't think I would ever be capable of writing something like that. And
Secrets,
that I was.
Secrets, or I guess startling truths do tend to be dark if they're startling. What's like a positive startling truth? Has anyone ever written a positive startling truth? Like, I don't know.
Like somebody finds out that they're pregnant and they've had so many, they've had so many battles with trying to finally got the opportunity.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Or they got their dream job or something like that after applying to 20 different jobs and not getting hired anywhere. That would be kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
I like this suggestion. Watch a show while muted. Write the dialogue yourself to see where the story goes from there.
Yeah,
that's really good. My girlfriend and I, we used to go to like laundromats a lot before we lived in a building that had washing machines, and they would play movies on these TV screens, but the sound would never work. So yeah, we just sit there for like the couple hours that we were doing laundry and like make up dialogue, and that was a lot of fun.
That's cool. I think I've only done that like a handful of times, but it's nice when you're able to just like actually make dialogue that works with whatever they're mouthing.
Yeah. Savannah Wade has a positive, startling truth. Childhood best friend has always been in love with you. Aww.
Aww.
And hopefully you love them back, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Mine was supposed to be dark. This is Elijah Martin. Mine was supposed to be dark, but it ended up sounding more comedic than anything. That's a problem for me. Yeah, tone can be rough to nail down.
You know what? Dark humor is still a thing that a lot of people can relate to. So if you can make something dark funny, test your audience.
Yeah,
but definitely go for it if that's, an angle that you want to pull.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we're ready.
All right.
For our final sprint.
Prompt number 3. Final reminder. The goal is writing. You don't need to use the prompt. You can if you want. And the prompt is A character stumbles into the middle of a dramatic conversation. And it can be the conversation that was already happening, or it can be a completely new dramatic conversation. But the goal is that they stumble into the middle of it, and there's like no backtracking where the characters like explain what's going on. It's just they walk into the middle of it.
Yep.
And it's going to be another 10-minute one.
Mm-hmm.
Are we ready?
I think.
Oh, I'm ready.
I think we're ready.
That's not what voice was I doing before? Oh, I'm ready. I don't know.
I think we're ready.
Okay.
Though. All right. So 10 minutes in 3, 2, 1, right. Okay, 5 minutes left.
I'm laughing at your vibe. Well, I know. I'm trying to, it's catching up. But, you know, like, it would be like one person. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was sharing, you know, and it's like, yeah, people have fun. Yeah. Well, I could roll it. I could roll it. I could roll it. Okay. Yeah, quite the deal. Yeah. Well, that looks pretty good. Wherever the fuck that is. Is that on there or something? Yeah, just looks like basketball. I think that's just like a little top there. Yeah. Yeah. What is it? Oh. That's right. So like usually like it's that like one of my iPod settings. I mean you can use mine. Well, dealing off the same thing before like for example like I have like won't even log in a V. Yeah, but oh yeah, it's different. It's actually better because you get when you like you have a certain amount of light. So that means if you like a girl, she knows you have a certain per day. But it's not like you get like fucking like if you like.
All right. Time is up.
You only have like 7, 10 like that, and then they have to like.
Time's up. All right, guys. So 10 minutes is up. Share what you've written. How'd it go for you? How'd it go for you?
It went pretty well for me.
Good.
I'm having a great time.
Good.
383 words is my total.
Nice.
It's slower than last time.
I don't know what my total is because I write dialogue very, very slowly. Especially since most of my dialogue has quotation marks around it, which takes time to write. But apparently, I was able to get 400 words in.
Ooh.
So I guess I don't write dialogue that slowly anymore. I've always struggled with it, but I guess I did pretty good. All right, let's see who wrote what. Let's count up some word counts. Hillary McDonald said 191 was her word count. It was a little harder to get started this time. I get that. Yeah, this was a interesting prompt, so I can understand, kind of needing to get yourself in that rhythm and everything.
Mm-hmm. I think part of what made me slow is I had to think of it. I didn't do the conversation I was writing before, but to think of a new one, and I had to kind of find my place in a overall narrative before writing more.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. That's Michael is an excerpt. The same thing that happened in the 1990s is going to happen again soon, Bryce said. We can't prevent it. We're hoping we can get enough people away from the area. What happened in the 90s?
I know. What happened in the 90s?
NaNoWriMo.
That's true. NaNoWriMo did happen in the 90s.
1999.
Yep.
20th anniversary.
Michael Ryder said that he got 210 words in and then asked if anybody wrote or if people quote their own dialogue. He's like, I'm wondering if that is slowing me down in these experiences. I do. I quote all of my dialogue. And even if I'm
actually putting the quotes,
putting actual quotation marks around it and everything. And I feel like that can slow people down sometimes, especially since, like, for me, a lot of the times when I'm putting quotation marks around something, I always second guess what I'm about ready to say as the dialogue piece.
Yeah.
So it takes me a while. I put the quotes down and then I'm like, okay, do I actually want to write this?
Yeah, I do that a lot.
So
and there's a lot of enter, then open quote, and then backspace, and then typing just more prose.
Yeah.
The dialogue.
Let's see. Desiree E. Wing said, midnight struck and my body changed. I grew hair in new places and got bigger, and we all went through puberty. I don't need to know about your weird, culty period rituals. It wasn't puberty. It wasn't puberty. I like that. That was an interesting excerpt.
Mm-hmm.
I really do wonder what conversation struck that.
If it's anything other than werewolf, I am super curious. And if it is werewolf, I'm also curious because werewolves are dope. Do people have strong opinions on werewolves versus vampires, or should we not open that can of worms?
I don't think we should open that can of worms.
Everyone who comments about werewolves or vampires will be banned.
It could just be a rolling stream if you want to.
The bird of sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh. Bird of Inferno wrote, thankfully she was fast enough to outrun him, even though she was so hungry. Rachel Mayo, Siobhan's whole body racked with chills. She slowly tiptoed back down the stairs. She needed to get out of this house now. Ghost Story? Did I say that name right?
Oh, we opened a can of worms.
No.
People are already vampiring or werewolfing. It's great.
I mean, the fact
Purple
that they-
Alligator said it's all about werepires.
yes.
Yeah, just bring them together. Oh my gosh.
Dialectics.
Yes.
Okay. I'm meh about them. Meh about were vampires, whatever they're called.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer Fae, but the creepy kind, not the hot kind. Very cool. Hollis. Howls at the Moon. We're definitely getting away from dialogue now. Not all the way.
Not all the way.
See.
There's a couple of people who are still putting in their excerpts.
Mm-hmm. No, go ahead and read off some of this.
Yeah, give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth C. said, "Why would I try again?" Peter continued in a whisper. "Maybe because no one else will.
Peter sounds like a hero.
Right. I'm imagining that as soon as he says somebody walks in.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, I'm not talking to myself, trying to pep myself up for trying this experiment again one more time.
Lottie Hancock says, what would it matter? Gonna make me something new? Gonna make it where I'm not damned? How can anyone help me? Maybe I should just let him kill me. Just sit in my apartment and let it happen. No! Gotta fight.
Gotta fight.
I like that one. I don't know, I just love seeing like little hints of people's worlds through dialogue. It's such an interesting way of doing the show don't tell thing.
Right.
Because I think people basically know, even if they've never heard show don't tell, they get that like just expository dialogue is not as preferable. And so I love seeing the way that people start like showing their worlds through character speech.
Right. Well, I think this is good. Been a good writing sprint.
Definitely.
I think this has been a really good
A lot of us
opportunity.
got a lot more words.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone want to share like their total word count for all 3 word sprints? Like I got my total was 1,026. I don't know if other people.
Mine. You don't want to know mine.
990 from Savannah Wade. 668, 305. Tiara Yvonette Scott says, I had fun, 100, 100, clap emoji, clap emoji.
Nice. Lottie Hancock
glad you had fun.
says she got 757 words total.
A lot of people got 500. Or is that just...
It's one person.
Oh, it's one person. Just telling us 500.
Eleanor Raymer says total word count was 833. Nice. Good job.
Mm-hmm. All right. I guess that's where we're wrapping it up.
Yeah, I guess we can wrap it up from here.
Reminders, subscribe to the channel so you get the little notifications, I guess, that the VWIs are happening.
Mm-hmm.
They'll pop up in your feed so that you'll know when it's going down.
Yeah.
Also a reminder about the fundraising thing at store.NaNoWriMo.com.org /nano-prep. $30, postcards, $1 a day. Invest in your novel.
We're going to plug it into the chat as well, just so that way you guys can just click on the link and go there if you'd like to donate. If you can't donate, again, that's fine.
One more thing. If you haven't created your projects yet for NaNoWriMo 2019, go to the website and do that. You're on your profile, you click on the My NaNoWriMo and then projects, right?
Yes.
And it gives you a prompt, and you can create your project for 2019 just so that it's there. And that's like, I guess making a promise to yourself that you're actually gonna give it a shot.
You can list your word count or a completion date if you want to. There's tons of different ways that you can kind of put a time frame on the projects that you're starting. That way you actually have a deadline and you can finish it by that deadline. So again, just to recap, click the subscribe button and hit the bell if you want to keep watching virtual write-ins, and so that way you can be notified of any other YouTube videos that we make for you guys. Definitely start your projects. November's coming soon, so you want to definitely start your project and start thinking about a specific word count that you want to meet or a deadline that you want to hit. Just go ahead, go in there, create your projects and get them started. And then feel free to donate at store.nanowrimo.org/nano prep. If you can donate $30, that's $1 for every day that you'll be writing in November. It's a great way to invest in your novel, and you definitely will get 6 really cool postcards that are themed around our 20th anniversary. And if you can't donate, that's also fine. All of this stuff will still be available for you guys to use. We'll still be doing virtual write-ins for you guys, so you can definitely participate in those as well. It's still a great way to kind of be cultivated in the NaNoWriMo community.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
All right.
hope you guys have a great day.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right.
That's his
Bye,
real
Bobby.
voice. That's his voice now.
That's his voice now.
Oh.